when the prosecutors, the career prosecutors, according to the Yahoo News story, say that there's no case there to be had, we couldn't prove it. Chris Wallace nailed this guy to the wall a million different ways in a 5-minute interview. You want to watch it? So I'm going to show you. So they say that, oh, this is just a political prosecution. The career lawyers in the Department of Justice said that this we could never prosecute this. This is wrong. We don't have the evidence. Well, we couldn't prove it to a jury. Here's Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace, the bad Wallace, is going to destroy James Comey. Let's watch.
I know I don't see the disconnect between the two of us, and I'm sorry that I'm missing it.
Here are you and the Inspector General Michael Horowitz answering the same question.
Do you think this is vindication?
It is. I mean, the FBI's had to wait 2 years while the president and his followers lied about the institution. Finally, the truth gets told.
Does your report vindicate Mr. Comey?
So they're talking about when the Inspector General did an investigation into Russiagate, and they found out that they had lied to the FISA court 17 times, and Russiagate was all built on a house of lies. And so they ask, do you think that your report, they're asking the Inspector General, do you think your report about Russiagate vindicates James Comey? Because James Comey just said it did. Here's what the Inspector General says.
It doesn't vindicate anyone at the FBI who touched this, including the leadership.
The IG says you should feel no vindication.
Well, maybe it turns upon how we understand the word. What I mean is that the FBI was accused of treason, of illegal spying, of tapping Mr. Trump's wires illegally, of opening an investigation without justification, of being a criminal conspiracy to defeat and then unseat a president.
They did all that. They did all that. They did all that. It was a criminal conspiracy to frame the president as a traitor to the country. We all know it was made up now. They did that. And you don't have to like Trump. Again, this is about the rule of law. This is about if they can do this to a sitting president, they'll do it to anybody. They'll do it to Bernie Sanders. They'll do it to Elizabeth Warren. Do it to Cornel West. They'll do it to anybody. Okay.
All of that was nonsense.
Here is what you said about the FISA process and what the Inspector General Horowitz said this week. Take a look.
I have total confidence that the FISA process was followed and that the entire case was handled in a thoughtful, responsible way by DOJ and the FBI.
So do you see how he answered that question? Hey, did you guys do everything lawful when it came to the FISA application to get the phone tap for Trump? He didn't say yes. He goes, I have full confidence. So that's a guy who knows how to give himself wiggle, just like Fauci. They know the weasel words and the way to not actually answer a question, so they can come back later and he can say something like this. So they did not follow the FISA process. In fact, they lied 17 times to the FISA court to get that phone tap on Donald Trump to start off the Russiagate investigation. And so when they asked the Inspector General about this, here's what he says.
Identified significant inaccuracies and omissions in each of the 4 applications. 7 in the first application, and a total of 17 by the final renewal application.
So 17 times they lied. So after Comey said, I have full confidence that we follow the rule of law. Watch how he answers this.
17 significant errors in the FISA process, and you say that it was handled in a thoughtful and appropriate way.
Yeah, he's right. I was wrong. I was overconfident in the procedures that the FBI and Justice had built over 20 years.
He was just too confident. He was just too confident. Sense. It wasn't, he was, oh, you know what? I was overconfident. I'm not lying. No. I wasn't lying. I was just overconfident.
The head of the whole thing is not that cynical. He's a Pollyanna, the guy who leads the entire corrupt organization. That's the guy who's least responsible of anyone.
Yes. So let's watch. There's more.
Again, here's your version, and again, here's the Inspector General.
My recollection was it was part of a broader mosaic of facts that were laid before the FISA judge to obtain a FISA warrant.
And we concluded that the Steele reporting played a central and essential role in the decision to seek a FISA order.
So they're talking about the Steele dossier. And he said, no, it was just, we didn't rely on the Steele dossier to get the FISA phone taps on Trump. It was just part of a mosaic. There was a bunch of things. Well, the Inspector General says, no, it was the central thing. That's what you guys used in front of the FISA court, was the Steele dossier, which we now know was just opposition research paid for by Hillary Clinton. So now we know this. the Steele dossier was completely made up because Hillary Clinton paid for it and then lied for a year by the way, that she did pay for the Steele dossier. And then it came out that she did, and she got a slap on the wrist for lying about it for a year to the FBI. So here's the Inspector General completely contradicting James Comey.
Horowitz says it wasn't part, as you told Brett Baier, it wasn't part of a broader mosaic. He said it played an essential role in establishing probable cause. In fact, he says, if it hadn't been for the Steele dossier, the FBI probably wouldn't have even submitted a FISA application.
I'm sure he and I are saying different things.
Well, there's the issue of how reliable the Steele dossier, in fact, was. On January 6, 2017, in the Trump Tower, you brief Donald Trump, President-elect, about the Steele dossier. That same month, the FBI talks to Steele's main Russian contact, the main person on whom he based the dossier, who says, according to the IG report, quote, Steele misstated or exaggerated the primary subsource's statements in multiple sections of the reporting. Director Comey, not only do you fail to go back to the president-elect or president after January 20th and tell him, oh, you know that report I briefed you on? Turns out it's bunk. But the FBI goes back and renews its FISA application 3 more times. And by this point, the FBI knows that the Steele reporting is not credible. Did you know all of this?
All of what?
Everything that we're talking about.
All of what? Did you know all this? All of what? What I just told you. So that's a liar. So that's a guy who's lying. So
was he cheating on Chris Wallace? That's like a cheater does that to buy time.
Out here, did you know that in fact the Steele report was the key for probable cause? Did you know that the FBI had talked to the Russian contact and he said what Steele said he had told him was not true? Did you know this? You're the FBI director.
First, again, the report will speak for itself. I don't believe the FBI concluded that Steele's reporting was bunk after talking to a subsource. But no, I didn't. As the director, you're not kept informed on the details of an investigation. So no, in general, I didn't know what they'd learned from the subsource. I didn't know the particulars of the investigation.
But this isn't some investigation, sir. This is an investigation of the campaign of the man who is the president of the United States. And there is, I've left for last, the worst misconduct. In August of 2016, just 2 weeks into the investigation, the CIA tells the FBI that it actually has a relationship with Carter Page, that when he has these meetings with the Russians, he actually goes back and he tells the CIA about it. But you never tell the FISA court that. And in fact, in 2017, an FBI lawyer doctors a document. The CIA said, oh, Carter Page, he's a source. And he puts in the application, he's not a source.
Yeah, I got to take issue with I'll answer the question, but one of the predications of your question, the Inspector General did not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found mistakes and negligence and oversight.
No, that's not true. In the case of Kevin Kleinsmith, he has referred it for a criminal investigation.
Right, but that's not been resolved. This business with the lawyer changing some email to a partner on the team.
I mean, you make it sound like it's not much. It's
very important. It's very important.
I mean, not a source to not a source is a big deal.
Remember how we got here. The FBI was accused of criminal misconduct. Remember, I was going to jail, and lots of other people were going to jail. People on this network said it over and over and over again. The Inspector General did not find misconduct by FBI personnel, did not find political bias, did not find illegal conduct. Inspector General found significant mistakes, and that is not something to sneeze at. That's really important. But the American people, especially your viewers, need to realize they were given false information about the FBI. It's honest, it is not political, it is flawed.
It's unclear what the motivations were. On the one hand, gross incompetence, negligence. On the other hand, intentionality.
Gross negligence, or they intended to do it. They intended to lie to the FISA court.
So he's got him lying, and Chris Wallace dismantled James Comey. Everything he says is contradicted by the Inspector General's report. He was lying about the Inspector General, just like the press did. They lied about the Mueller report when they said, oh, they can't. It didn't exonerate the president. That's not what the report's supposed to do. The report says there's no evidence.
You're supposed to exonerate your bullshit charges you brought against him. That's how it works. Then
the press repeated it, and James Comey. Well, it doesn't exonerate him. Yeah, that's not. So
doesn't exhaust. Yeah, by the way, it does, assholes.
Actually, it does. And it completely did. And so they had to spin this. So that's what he's doing. And Chris Wallace is just showing him time and time again how he's just a fat liar. And that's what James Comey is.
Negligence.
James Comey is a fat liar. And that's what that is. So it's either, so the Inspector General's like, well, it's either gross negligence.
Not good. Not a good alternative.
Gross negligence, or they intended to do it. Of course they intended to do it. Of course they did.
That's everything, Jimmy.
Because
all the things are gross. They're not gross negligence. All these things, I don't know when people are going to stop clinging to the idea that they're just incompetent. Yeah. Is that what comforts you? No, it's on purpose. These are rat fuck bastards that work at the top. They know everything going on, or they wouldn't be there.
So if you're not sure if James Comey is one of the biggest liars you've ever seen in your life, Chris Wallace dismantled him. Everything he said was a lie, and Chris Wallace easily dismantled him. And these guys are so used to rolling over corporate reporters that he didn't expect Chris Wallace to come at him that way with the facts and the truth and the proof and evidence that he's lying. And he did. And James Comey, so did you know about this? Know about what? So when he said that, it's over that he's lying. This is a high school kid lying. Did I know about what? So I just wanted to show you that. That's 5 minutes straight of James Comey lying. And I want, if you want to hear me make jokes about this, come see me in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. And then we'll see you in Australia. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Come see me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Brisbane, Burbank, California the day after Thanksgiving, and Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.